afternoon, should say. I'd like to welcome you all to this afternoon's webinar with APH and Codeless platforms. Shortly, we're going to be joined by Martin Williams, who's the account director at Codeless. He's going to go through a presentation and then a little bit of a demonstration into how Codeless and its automation and processes can assist our customers in many ways, many different integration types. I'll hand over to Martin.
Hi everyone, hope you're all having a good day and a good week. So as Tim has said, my name is Martin Williams. I'm part of the sales and accounts team here at Codeless, and I want to show you a few slides and sort of talk through who we are, how the platform looks and feels, and then go and delve a little bit deeper into some of the things we do as well. So let me present from here. Okay, so let me start. So BPA platform, we talk about it being low code, no code environment. So it's all about integration and automation. Obviously, again, so I manage the sort of SAP side of things here. So it's integration and automation into and out of SAP B1. So let's have some history first. So we are Codeless Platforms. That's now our trading name. We've been in the marketplace now for over 20 years. Started out back in 1999. Back then, we were called Orbis Software, and that's now our parent company name. Also, previously, the platform was called Task Center. Since then, it's been rebranded BPA Platform, Business Process Automation Platform. In case you hear about those other names, just so you know, and some of you may already use this system with this branding, it's the same company and the same platform that's just grown and developed over the years. As a business, we're based in the UK, down the south coast, about 2 hours south of London, but we sell, provide and manage the platform globally. So I manage our SAP channel. I'm part of a larger team that manages other flavors of ERP. And that last line there, just to give you an idea of numbers, we're about 7,500, 8,000 end customers. And we manage all those customers via this network of partners. We call them BPA partners. There's about 300 globally. Predominantly, there'll be ERP partners. Of that 300, I would say about 60 or 70 are solely focused on SAP B1. There'll be some other OEM partners and things in there as well. Just again, to give you an idea of our size. Okay, so product overview. So what is BPA Platform? So fundamentally, it's a platform and a tool that enables our partners and our customers to integrate and automate data throughout their business, whether you are bringing in data from an e-commerce platform, or you are taking financial information out of SAP B1, doing some changes and pushing it back in, or sending out comms to customers. There's a variety of things that you can do with the platform, and I'll go through those throughout these slides. Hence our name, Codeless Platforms. We provide, it's a visual studio, the design page I call it, enables the partner and the customer to drag and drop elements, drag and drop tools, that enables you to build out the workflows, and it's the workflows that move that data back and forth. And again, I can touch on that further through the slides. And then looking at it from a perspective of, okay, so where does it sit? So we can be in the cloud, that's absolutely fine. And we can provide that hybrid where you have some cloud and some on-prem environments. Equally, we can be just on-premise. So as a bit of software, we supply the software via the BPA partner, so via the APH team. APH can host it for you, or indeed you guys can host it yourselves. And then it gives you those flexible deployment options, again, whether it's on-premise or iPaaS or hybrid. So again, there's true flexibility in where BPA sits and how it can manage things for you. And that little box there, the little robot, the idea of this is it's not a human being, it's a robot. It works 24/7, it doesn't take holidays, it does things throughout the evening. So the idea here is it gives you great value from the sort of financial commitment you make into software like this and what it can do for you throughout the integrations and automations. Okay, so what makes up the cost element? So again, because we're talking about the SAP channel here now, we supply the BPA platform with the relevant SAP connectors. So we've been a SAP ISV since 2011. SAP themselves have certified that when we connect into SAP, and that connector toolkit that enables us to do a number of things. So we can connect in via the DI API and the service layer. We support both a SAP HANA and a SAP SQL database. We obviously support the most recent version 10 of SAP, and I think we support back to version 8.8. So whatever flavor of SAP you have now or you might have in the future. Our toolkit gives you all of that control. So that is supplied within this sort of platform license. Thereafter, we look at how many tasks you need. So that's the process to move that data back and forth. And then also what connectors are required. Again, with a system like this, we can connect into a whole host of things. Invariably, every project starts with connecting to SAP and connecting to maybe into another application. So we provide those connections and those connectors as and when required. Okay. Right, so the platform itself, I think it's good to look at this because, again, all of our prospects tend to start with a specific requirement, but then very quickly they can see other applications around their business that we can help with as well. So let me just get rid of my, there we go. So let's say the grey wheel is one of your businesses that you guys on the webinar now, and around the wheel are the departments you may have around your business. Inside that wheel is the BPA platform. So we, again, provide the software via the partner. That can be, so BPA is hosted on a Microsoft server, and that can be a server on-premise or a server in the cloud. Again, whether you are in the cloud and connecting to on-prem or vice versa, BPA gives you that full flexibility about where it's hosted and what it can connect to. Then outside my grey wheel on the slide, you'll see a selection of brand names. I'm sure you recognize most of them, all of them. What we're trying to say here is within reason, whatever systems you're using around your business, you can use the BPA platform to connect into those systems to move and manage that data back and forth. So whether you're looking at courier, so maybe you might pass consignment information out from SAP B1 and pass that consignment information into, let's say, DPD or into DHL. DPD is going to verify that. You might take back some sort of reference code. Equally, you might take back the consignment information or the consignment number. Again, this is pushing and pulling data into and out of a courier service as an example. And then you might follow that up with maybe tracking information, or indeed e-commerce. You might be pushing and pulling orders. So orders out of e-commerce into BPA, and I can touch on what that looks from an overview perspective of the integration, and then pushing and pulling that data into and out of ERP. So again, whatever systems you're using around your business, you can use the BPA platform to connect into those systems to either integrate data out to another system or indeed automate data throughout your business, pushing comms to customers, pushing comms back into the business. Okay. So a typical BPA integration, there's some examples on my page, but whether you're looking at CRM, courier, WMS, whatever it may be, it's a similar setup where BPA sits in the middle of integration. BPA can be, again, on a server that's on-premise or in the cloud. BPA, we use a staging database, so a staging environment that's currently a copy of Microsoft SQL Server. If you don't have one of those licenses and want to use, or don't want to invest in one of those licenses, you can also use Microsoft SQL Express as the free of charge bit of software. So on one side, you would have an application that could be HubSpot, that could be Salesforce, that could be Shopify, that could be any e-commerce or any application. And on the other side, you'd have the ERP system. So BPA manages a series of workflows, pushing and pulling data out of e-commerce, bringing that data into staging or any application, and then another series of workflows, data coming out of staging and pushing information up into ERP. And of course, because we're a bi-directional platform, there are also workflows taking data out of ERP to staging and then staging back out to the application. So again, whatever type of integration you're using or building or managing, it's that similar setup with BPA in the middle of integration, managing the workflows, an application on one side and an ERP on the other side. Okay. Right. So I've spoken about the platform itself. So over the years, we've obviously built out a lot of templates, as our partners have as well. So what we now do is provide a library of those templates that saves our partners time from building things from scratch and starting with a foundation, let's call it. Now, of course, as it says in heavy type in the middle there, no two deployments are ever the same. You can have two customers that are maybe going from an e-commerce platform, the same e-commerce platform, into SAP B1, but both those customers will have their own customizations, their own their own requirements and their own way of managing that data back and forth. So we provide these templates to our partners and to our customers, and the partner can then use that template as the foundation to then deliver an integration for the customer. Okay, and there's some examples on my page here. Over time, as a business, we obviously see more and more of these templates being designed and built, and as and when they become the right template to put within our library, we'll then offer those out to the customer. Okay, or sorry, out via our partners. So, just looking at one of these in particular, it's probably one of our most used is the intercompany template. Intercompany being, and there's something you can see the sections on my screen here. Intercompany being the ability to move and manage that data back and forth when your business is running more than one brand. So let's say you've got head office and you've got a buyer and seller company. So there's 3 companies within the group, let's say. There's a need and a requirement to push data into and out of these companies based on the financials and based on the controls of that data and the financials within those 3 companies. So we've set up a template that covers these 3 areas: master data replication, intercompany document sharing, and financial data consolidation. So the master data, so let's say we're raising a new item code or a new supplier code. We add that to the head office company. BPA would then take that data and then replicate within the buyer and the selling companies. Equally, if it's intercompany document sharing, so maybe I'm raising a purchase order within my buying company and I want my sales side to have the relevant document raised on their side as well. So again, that document sharing, when BPA sees something happening within one of those companies, it disseminates and passes that data through through the other companies as well. And then financial consolidation, whereby you're accounting for your purchases and your sales throughout your group, and it's making sure that that financial data is consolidated in the right way, in the right form. So again, BPA can pick up this information and pass this data back up to HQ or into your consolidation company. So again, it saves bums on seats. It saves us sitting in front of screens, moving this data back and forth, double keying information. So the intercompany template is designed to push and pull, move and manage that data back and forth for you. So looking at that one in a little bit more detail, looking at the intercompany template side, like I said a moment ago, let's say you've got a purchasing company and you've got a selling company. So you would log into the purchasing company within SAP B1 and you would raise that purchase order. BPA would see that purchase order raised and then raise the corresponding sales order within the selling company. And then if that delivery note was automated or if it was a manual creation, BPA is going to then see the delivery note raised and then raise the corresponding goods receipt PO back in the purchasing company. So again, these are examples of that document opening and document raising within the relevant company. So you can see there the invoice flow on the left-hand side. Similarly for the invoice and credit flow, just a couple of additional options there where it's raising the credits. And again, similarly on the returns flow there, you can see a bit of a key bottom left, whereby it's raised where a human being would raise a document, and then BPA would raise the corresponding document thereafter. And just say all the slides I'm showing you, obviously you guys can get access to these via the APH team. So everything we're showing you can be sort of shared out as well. Okay, so this is me now logged into a virtual machine. So these are the screens that a consultant would use to manage existing integrations or indeed build new integrations. So a very quick run through, you'll see some shortcuts down the side. This, which I can drop this away now. This next section here is all the independent tools we use. You can see there's an abundance of tools there and connectors and things. Just touching on the connector side, if I do a drop down here, you'll see the SAP B1 tool. So we're going by the DI API and the service there, like I said earlier. I'm sure some other brand names you recognize there as well. And then further down here, we have all the tasks. So I just want to run a task for you and let you see the system in action, really. So let me come back a screen and come into SAP B1. Right, so I'm in SAP B1 now, which I'm sure you all know and love. Come into choose company. And let's come into the buyer. What I'm going to do, I'm going to raise a journal entry within the buying company. I'm going to run BPA. We'll then see that same journal entry raised within the HQ. Okay, so I'll click OK there. Right, I'm going to come into financials. I'm going to go into journal entry. That one there. I'm going to go to last item. And I've got 6715. So I'm coming up here, and I'm going to duplicate. Click OK, and click Add, and click Yes. See the green bar across the bottom. If I come into BPA, and I come down to my task, drop those tools up for a little bit. I'm going to come down to SBO Intercompany, and I'm going to come to financial consolidation, and that's where I ran this morning. There we go. So normally, as a back office solution, this runs automatically, of course, so it sees something happen within your business, and the platform picks up and runs its process automatically. But equally, you can manually trigger things if you need to. So I can right-click and click. I can right-click and tap on Q now. You'll see the process in the middle of the screen start to run, and you'll see lots of tools initializing at the bottom. So what this is doing now, it's looking into SAP B1, it's seeing what's been raised, it's then running through its processes, it's moving that data coming out of SAP B1 into that staging environment and making sure the data is in the right shape and the right form within its tables. It's then triggering additional tasks. You can see all the green tick start to appear. It's then going to take that data and then populate that data up into the HQ company within SAP B1 itself. So again, BPA is connecting into SAP B1 via agents and using trigger tools and things like that. Again, it's pulling information out of SAP B1 and setting the data up in staging. It's then triggering additional processes and pushing that data back and up into SAP B1 again on the HQ side. So we get lots of green ticks. So I now come out of BPA and come back into SAP B1. So let's now push that up there. Let's come up. We go into choose company again. Let's now come into head office. Just to clarify, so we had 6715 was the last item we had, therefore it would have raised 6716. I come to HQ. I click OK. Right, I now come to financials. I come into journal entry, and I go to last item. And there we go. So it's put the reference in for the document number coming out of that initial journal entry, which was 6716, which you can see here, and it's duplicated all of that data as a journal within the HQ. So whether you are doing that from any number of companies, whether that then needs to trigger other things within the platform. Again, there's just an idea to show you a quick demo of BPA seeing something happen within SAP B1. Running the correct processes and then pushing that data back into the relevant companies. Okay, there's a quick demo there. And what I will also do whilst this is running, I'll come out of this and I'll do another quick demo for you, if that's okay. Actually, let's come back into SAP B1. Let's close that screen down. Let's come back up into administrator. Let's go choose company. Let's come down to my demo account now and click OK. Right, so in the same way that we can pick up data from one company and move to another, you can also trigger notifications and alerts as well. So let's say I'm now in the finance team and I'm managing some suppliers and I change the bank account of one of my suppliers. The business wants to make sure that I'm doing that correctly. So maybe an email out to maybe my finance manager as an example. So let's come down here now. Let's go into business partners. Let's come into master data. Let's choose the last supplier, which is SMD. I'm going to come across the payment run. I'm going to drop the arrow down on the bank account from HSBC to Barclays, or Barclays to HSBC. I'm going to click update. We'll see a green bar across the bottom. I'm going to come into BPA now, and you'll see it automatically trigger in the middle, and it's run very quickly. So what we're doing there, our trigger tool is monitoring SAP B1, certain data within SAP B1. It's seen the change, and it's triggered a process. That process has sent an email out. It's actually come through to me, but an email could be going to anyone. So it enables you to monitor changes within SAP B1 and make sure those changes are reported or notified back to the relevant party. So I come into my Outlook now. I know this is running a couple of minutes slow, so here's one I ran earlier, as they say. So I click into this now, and you'll see it's a simple email, notification alert. They sent through a message that says a bank account has changed within a supplier account. What this enables the business to do is just monitor some of those more sensitive data changes within your business. Okay. So that showed you two versions, one me doing it manually, and then one doing it from an automated process. Automation. So there's lots of benefits of automation. There's lots of reasons why we say you should use automation. And there's some highlights here. Again, we can send copies of slides out. The main one for me, and it's always been, I think it always will be, is the reduction in cost. So rather than someone sat in front of a screen, taking time to re-key information, there's obviously the reduction in human errors, but it's that cost saving of spending a number of hours a day pushing and pulling data back and forth out of the system. So that for me is the biggest one. By not using that member of staff, he or she can then focus on other tasks, which is great, of course. One I've touched on is reduction in human error. So double keying data. We're human beings, we make mistakes, I'm afraid. So removing a human from a process reduces your risk in managing that data back and forth. We can obviously improve productivity, throughput of process within the business. Another good one here is simpler to scale. So let's say you're a business you're managing now. Let's say you process 100 orders per hour. And then overnight, you suddenly get an influx of more orders. And let's say you're doing 200 orders per hour. By having this data automated and these processes automated, that additional pickup of that data is an easy thing to manage. Yes, you'll need more guys or more girls in the warehouse to manage the picking and packing necessarily. But it's easier to scale it's easier for the business to scale that data because that data is already being managed within your business within these automated processes. Obviously integration and what integration gives you, and integration into different systems, and again that then folds back on itself and then looks at the reduction of those things as well. And of course there's the improved data, so the reduction in human errors, that's making sure that system A is talking to system B. So when one of your guys updates some sales numbers in Salesforce, as an example, you're seeing that data flow through into SAP B1. So when a manager is looking at SAP B1 from a hierarchy level and looking down on some of those data points, they're getting more up-to-date data being pushed through to those systems. Okay. Okay, so we talk about BPA, and yes, it can do a lot of things, and I can sort of bleat on to about what it can do for hours and hours. We break those things down to 4 areas to make it more consumable. Those 4 areas being notifications and alerts, and I showed you an example a minute ago. So how can BPA see a change within your business and push out an alert to a customer or push out a notification within your business? It can manage reports and document automation. Let's say you have certain consignments that have to go out the door with a certain hazardous document, or maybe when you're running certain process within the business, you need to report on those processes. You can use BPA to bring that data together to find those documents for you and print them out or send them through to someone. The third area we call data integration and synchronization. That's the move and management between 2 different systems. So that might be data coming down from e-commerce and going up into SAP B1. That might be data coming out of Concur and going into SAP B1 and vice versa. And then that 4th area we call workflow and human interaction. So let's say now you offer out some overtime to your staff. So the system knows there's overtime, and it's the email sent out to staff or asking staff to come in and say that they want some overtime. Maybe certain managers need to approve those things. So you can have an automated process at the start. You can have a communication come into the business or a data change in the business. Maybe then a director needs to approve or sign this off. Maybe it's goods coming back into the warehouse. Maybe certain goods need to have a restocking fee, or maybe certain products can't be returned to the warehouse. So you can have a human being in the process to say yes or say no, or agree a restocking fee, or whatever it may be, and then BPA can pick up that process thereafter. So you're merging the automation with a human yes or no, and then continuing the automation thereafter. And as that says at the box at the bottom there, all of this is within that simple to use graphical interface, which I showed you a moment ago. So the screens and the tools we use are designed to be easy to use. But of course, as Tim said as well, APH are there as the sort of experts in the room to manage the harder things for you and obviously support what you're doing with BPA as well. And then some facts and figures, if that's okay with you. So the way or the amount of time we spend, 28% looking at innovation and projects, yet the huge amount of time we spend managing existing systems. So that's logging into systems, moving data back and forth, checking into another system, moving information back and forth. Business process automation can hugely reduce those numbers. So you can spend more time on those innovative things and more time on those new projects as opposed to just moving data back and forth. And then bottlenecks, we spend a crazy amount of time looking for documents as per Forrester, and we spend a crazy amount of time doing things we don't need to do, approving paperwork, generating sales leads, processing documents, lots of these things within your business. And also we do these things because it's become a habit. We come in the morning, we log into our systems and we do things because we've always done them. You can remove lots of that legwork with a platform, with the BPA platform, and let the platform manage those things for you to give you some great savings. But I think personally, for not a lot of money, so that the platform is really competitively priced, and it very, very quickly enables you to recoup the value that you've invested in BPA and then a whole lot more thereafter. And then return on investment. So, and I've broken these down to make it a bit more consumable. So the main way we look at ROI is the amount of time saved based on an amount per hour gives you a saving. But as the slide said, it's not always that simple, because that person that was doing that job before, you're not going to get rid of that person. You might reuse, or you would reuse that person elsewhere in the business, or you'd elevate that person to a manager level or doing something else. So there's that initial ROI of cost versus saving throughout the week, throughout the month. But then breaking those down into those sort of 6 areas, there's the opportunity. So automation can free up your staff's time to do other things in a business. So whereas you may have a number of people sat in the finance team doing a number of things with running and managing the finance processes, maybe one of those people could then do something else across the business. So you're saving that element of cost and time there, but then you're freeing up another process around the business. And then audit trail, compliance and repercussions of not being compliant, GDPR fines and doing things we need to be doing and checking information and doing things in a certain timely fashion. BPA can make sure those things happen when they should do to ensure you are compliant and you're not getting these fines if things don't happen in the right order. Security. Okay, sensitive data. So the beauty here is you can use BPA to manage processes. Therefore, you don't have eyes looking at data that those eyes shouldn't be looking at. Maybe it's managerial data, maybe it's wage information and salary data around your business. You can use BPA to manage this to then stop the need for maybe more junior members of staff to be managing this data, and it then becomes a fully automated process. The impacts of something not being done. So let's say you've not put a certain PO onto an invoice, and therefore that 30-day payment becomes a 60-day payment or a 90-day payment. Again, using automation to ensure that documents are completed correctly, information is put onto those documents correctly to then on the other side of that to make sure things are paid when they should be paid, and therefore less commercial impact to the business. Standardizing, so like our company now, so we manage our licensing. So licensing is an automated process where licenses are raised and licenses are renewed, should I say, as opposed to having bums on seats and doing this from a manual process. And then that last one there, which is one we don't always think about, is the reputation. So it's making sure that when you add, let's say, stock into your ERP, and that stock is disseminated down to your customer portal or down to your e-commerce platforms for your customers to see, the data they can see is correct. So when they order something on Amazon or they order something on eBay and that order doesn't arrive, they don't then give you a low score or give you a half star that then might affect someone else purchasing from you. So very quickly, your ratings and your reviews that you're getting on these websites, because your data is correct and your data is accurate, therefore the things you promise are the things you can deliver. All happens in a timely fashion, and therefore you've got a happier customers, more ratings, more stars. Therefore, that's then going to only lead to more customers doing the same, purchasing product from you. As with all of these types of webinars, it's always good to have a few testimonials, so that just a snippet of some of the things that some of our customers are saying. Fundamentally, it's an easy platform to use. It's not a crazy price with regards to commercial. So like I said to you, start off with an amount of money that enables you to deliver the right automation into your business. And then you can add more licenses and things as and when required. But of course, the APH guys there to help manage that for you as well. And that was my last slide. So Tim, can I pass back to you? Is that okay?
Yep, thanks very much, Martin. And thanks everyone for joining us today. We've just got a couple of questions, I think, to put to Martin before we end. One of them was about sort of typical installations, how long they take.
Our guys would say, if we look at our intercompany template, so it's a pre-built template, our guys would say taking that in its standard form and installing that template. Our guys would quote anywhere between 1, 2 or 3 days. Normally, the additional time comes from the sort of testing of these templates. So normally speaking, installing the template is the quick and easy part. It's often the additional time it may take to do the necessary testing. But so again, looking at intercompany, we probably say 2-3 days. If you're looking at maybe our Concur to SAP B1 integration, maybe you're looking 4 to 5 days. Normally, the additional time comes if a customer has more complex, maybe parent and child products or SKUs and things. But on the whole, we're normally talking sort of a few days.
Okay.
Great.
I think just to add to that, I think definitely with APH, we've got a lot of skilled consultants in terms of used to working with Codeless, working on the integrations, etc. So I think one of the key things is once the integration is up and working, you've kind of got this right. Who's going to be able to assist us if there's any queries in the future, etc. So it's something that we have sort of vast knowledge across the team in. Worth pointing out.
Yeah, good stuff.
I'll just add to that APH have partnered with Codeless platforms for over 10 years, and the solution is widely used across our customer base. We've got live integrations with e-commerce, couriers, CRM, payroll, expenses, many different varieties of the types of automation integration, as I say, alive and in situ. In terms of that, Martin, what sort of customer base, how many end customers do you think you have?
Okay,
globally?
So a quick we talk about 7,500, 8,000 customers across all of our different systems, and so all of the different applications and things. I think if we looked at SAP B1, we've got to be somewhere between maybe 400 customers. I would say. Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of this isn't specific to APH in terms of the partner base. This is what used across, like you say, all SAP Business One customers, various partners in the network.
Yes, totally. So the beauty of BPA, it's licensed the same way that SAP is licensed. So it's owned by the end customer. It's the end customer's license. Yes, it's managed via APH and the APH team, but the customer has full control of that license. And we partner with, I think, all, if not the majority of SAP partners, certainly across the UK. And we've got SAP partners across the globe. So from where I am, I manage partners in Australia one side and South America the other side. So it really is a global platform used by the global community, certainly within SAP B1.
Yeah. And in terms of license models, it is very simple to use. I know it's easy for me to say that, but I think one of the things that we do get feedback from our customers is they can understand how the licenses work, how they need to go about adding more tasks or look at the new integration, etc. But I think digging down deep into that side, we can pick up any questions you have, as I say, by email or call, and we can go through how that all breaks down with you. Anything else you want to add to Martin at all?
No, just that, I think you hit the nail on the head there. The idea of BPA is to give a solution to customers that makes this fairly easy. It's to do with how many connections you have, how many tasks you have. You can start with a fairly small license to address a certain thing, a certain process, a certain process in your business. But then thereafter, you can let the system grow. If you're happy with managing that one thing and that's where you want to go, absolutely fine. But equally, you can then manage more automations, more integrations around your business for not much more money. So competitively priced.
Brilliant. So I think you've got the note there. We'll drop off now, but if there are any questions, as I say, please contact me directly. Thanks very much for joining us on this afternoon session. Thanks for Martin. Great presentation. And speak soon.